There was nothing particularly unusual about this guy as he approached my table, except perhaps for his hands were full of beer. He was carrying a pint of lager and half a Guinness. That was a bit unusual. He stopped right in front of me. "Where's Mickey gone?" he asked. "Who's Mickey?" "Mickey Durston. She was sitting at your table." The guy nodded at a vacant chair. On the table beside him was an empty glass that had recently had a Guinness in it. "Sorry, buddy, I have no idea. I was actually just sitting at her table. It's always crowded here at Friday lunchtime. Someone walking past accidentally poked him in the back." "Why don't you sit down before you spill something?" He obediently sat down on the empty seat. "So you don't know her?" he asked. "I haven't even had a chance to talk to her. Is she your girlfriend?" "Yeah, I bought her this beer." "Maybe she went to the bathroom. There's no more free chairs, so she'll have to sit on your lap when she gets back." "I don't mind her sitting on mine. She's got fantastic legs. No offense if you're her boyfriend." "That's okay. I'm George, and I was her boyfriend." "Dan." We shook hands. "So, what happened?" I asked. "She dumped you because you ran off with another woman, and now you're hoping that half a bottle of Guinness can bring her back?" He laughed good-naturedly in response. "No, I found a new job in Bristol about a year ago and left town. This is my first time back for a buddy's birthday party. I just spotted her at the bar and bought her a beer. It was supposed to be a surprise for her." "Well, she'll probably be back in a minute. I sure hope so." "I hope so too, but if not, she's at my buddy's party tonight." "So who's your buddy?" "Maybe I know him." He took a solid sip of beer. "Peter Hughes. Rich guy, fancy car, lives in a little mansion on the edge of town." "No, I don't know him either. We always called him Peter Peeping Tom, a real voyeur." "So am I. I think all men are a little bit like that." He laughed, and we clinked glasses, recognizing our fraternity of peepers. I only took a sip since there wasn't much left, but he almost drained his completely. "Can I get you another glass?" he asked kindly. "That's very polite of you," I replied. "Of course. I'll leave her Guinness here. If she comes back, detain her. Tell her George is here." "No problem." I watched him make his way through the crowd to the bar. A complete stranger buys me a beer. Aren't pubs lovely? It's a very masculine thing, though. Something women would never do. It was over 5 minutes before he returned. "Still didn't show up?" he inquired, setting the beer on the table. "Alas, no. Maybe she's completely gone after all." "It looks that way, doesn't it?" He pushed the bottle of Guinness meant for his girlfriend toward me. "Maybe you'd like this, Dan. I don't want to waste it." "No thanks, George. I can't stand it." We had another drink. He drank a little slower this time. Eventually, I'm going to have to pay him off with a beer, so this could turn into a protracted session. "Tell me more about this peeper," I asked, as if to keep the conversation going. "You know, I actually think he's just sick, priapism or something. He thinks he should get pleasure at least 6 times a day. He watches adult movies, reads magazines, and his wife knows all about it." "Wow. Yeah, imagine being married to a woman like that. She gives him everything and indulges his voyeurism. She says it keeps him on the right track. He claims he's never been with any other woman and just stupidly masturbates when she can't take it anymore." "Do you believe him?" "Of course he's crazy about her. She even lets him make his own movies at their house." "What? He films himself making love to his wife, and then watches the movies when she's exhausted?" "Close, but not quite. They have a really big house, and Pete's set up a guest room with its own shower. One wall has a huge floor-to-ceiling mirror. Behind that is a tiny room with all the home security monitors. From there, you can look into the guest room. The mirror works like a window, and it has cameras there that record everything." "Wow, that's a high five." He installed 2 more spy cameras in the guest room itself, another one in the shower, and even one in the restroom. Wow. I love watching this as much as any other man, but I don't want to spy on a woman in the restroom, or worse. I'm telling you, he's just sick and insatiable. "So how do you know all this? Does he share these movies?" "Only with his male co-stars." "What?" "Sure, he encourages couples who stay overnight to use the room. But a lot of guys know about the mirror. The women involved never realize they are being manipulated for better angles. Anyway, it's natural for a guy to try to see her in the mirror while he's doing her." "And you were one of the stars?" "That's right. And Pete said he wanted me to stay here for the night after the party. He especially likes Mickey." "Yeah, I get it. You made love to that Mickey girl on camera and you're going to do it again tonight, right?" Yeah, I slept with her there a couple times. We never really hung out much after I left town, but she's friends with Pete's wife. And knowing Pete's preferences, she called me and asked me if I wanted to have another go with Mickey, a special treat for Pete's birthday. Naturally, I said yes, so Mickey was invited to the party too. I can see why. I was only here a couple minutes before she left, but it was enough to see how gorgeous she was. I wouldn't mind taking a crack at her myself. Did you talk to her? Honestly, I'm a little shy. I raised my lager. A couple more of these and I could say hello to her. We chugged again. So, he let you have copies of your speeches? Yeah, I'm not one to brag, but I'm also one of Pete's favorites. Oh, I see. If you want to watch a gorgeous woman being used, there's no point in watching her pet a baby, right? Look, someone like me is unlikely to even see someone like that Mickey naked. I don't suppose you don't have any pictures of her, do you? I understand if you don't want to share them. Better than pictures, buddy. I have movies on my phone. Please take a look. Again, I'm not bragging, but I love performing in front of the camera. She's great at making love and doing all kinds of dirty stuff. Turns out it took him a while to access the video. The file is called GR, the guest room. It's password protected, George muttered. Yeah, here we go. Now I just need to find Mickey. God, how many girls did you have in there? Only half a dozen, but more than once each. Here she is. He handed me his phone, and here they are together in a series of short clips, working hard on each other in a variety of poses. You could see that some of the filming was specifically on camera, but only if you knew about it. Like George said, he was well equipped, although I noticed that I was the same size, so to speak. Perhaps he likes to show off a bit after all. Also, as agreed, this Mickey girl was taking him in all three. Like most voyeurs, I've seen a lot of adult movies, but this was the best. And not just because it was in HD and well edited, and not just because it didn't have those awful poses that professional models take. You know, where the girl looks at the camera and puts her finger to her bottom lip. No, it was best because I was sitting in a pub with the very same girl who was now enthusiastically exposing her intimate parts. Who knows? I might bump into her again someday. Imagine looking at those beautiful legs and knowing exactly how they rest on a man's shoulders. These are, of course, only short clips. I have the full versions on my computer at home. We just have to be careful with them. Oh, great. So I'll see her again after all. You finish your beer first and I'll go and get another. I handed George my phone. When I got back, he'd already sent me the clips I'd seen. Cheers! We got distracted by our beers. Have you seen a lot of adult movies? He asked after a while. Too many. It's fantastic, though. The most real thing I've ever seen. Have you ever seen the show live? No. I had one in Amsterdam. Would you like to see it? I'd love to, but I can't afford to go to Holland. I was thinking more about the party tonight. You could watch me and Mickey. But they don't know me and haven't invited me. Honestly, I'm not very good at parties anyway, especially where I don't know anyone. How about this? I'll be there at 8. I'll walk over and get a few bottles of Mickey's Guinness. Around 9:30, I'll get Pete's keys. One unlocks his little hideout and the other for the guest room. I send you a message on the phone and meet you at the back door of the house. We make our way upstairs, open the door, and you wait behind the mirror. There's a comfy chair there. Take a couple shots yourself, but don't stand in front of the cameras. We'll put on quite a show. She won't even know. And then I just slip away? If you want. Or join the party. There'll be 50 people there. No one will notice one extra. After that, there was nothing more to talk about. We broke up after one more beer. I thought about what had happened. Usually when someone tells stories about some guy I met in the pub, the story will refer to buying something cheap, most often shitty. But this guy wasn't trying to sell me anything. He was giving it away for nothing. I wondered again. That never happens with women. George left instructions on how to find the house. I got out of the cab half a mile away and walked. I didn't know this part of town at all, but I found the right house pretty easily and quickly. I waited in the dark at the back door, listening to the sounds of the party. A few years ago, this would have been called a merchant's entrance. The phone rang, and lo and behold, George was already opening the door. As planned, he led me upstairs. He opened a small viewing room and even handed me a can of cold beer. I made myself comfortable. 10 minutes later, he walked in with Mickey's girlfriend. She looked even prettier now in a spectacular red evening gown. He turned her back to the mirror and lifted the short hemline. At first, I thought she was naked from underneath until my partner stroked her buttocks. Then I could make out the thin red line of a very small tight thong. It was pretty much a rerun of the video clips. but the live action is much more exciting, and I felt I now fully recognized her. He managed to satisfy himself 3 times in 45 minutes, once in her each workstation. Maybe he had something to brag about after all. Apparently she had orgasmed half a dozen times. I watched all of this with my mouth open. The silence in this small room was broken only by the barely perceptible sound of the cameras around me. When Mickey went to shower, George opened the room door and nodded to me. I slipped out into the hallway, thanked my buddy, and went outside. There I had to walk for quite a while before I could hail a cab. Not many of them in the neighborhood. As I walked back home, I wondered if George had had another round with Mickey. Probably not right after she showered, but who knows. It was 11 o'clock when I, very tired, got home. The next morning, video clips of George's latest antics arrived on my phone, but I wasn't in a hurry to watch them after seeing the action live. Hopefully they'll be more stimulating in a couple months. I packed a couple bags and set them by the front door. Just after 10, Kayla came in. "Hey babe, how was Phantom of the Opera?" I asked.
Fantastic as usual. Miriam had never seen him before. The conference ended late, but we made it in time for the show to start. Our train arrived an hour ago. I just didn't have time to get my things before I got home.
Well, I packed everything I needed. She looked at the bags.
All right, where are we going? Or is this a surprise?
Kayla ran up to me and put her arms around me. At least she tried to, but I caught her wrists and held my hands between our faces. "I'm off to Brighton, the party town. Sun, sand, sea. But you, Michaela or Mickey, judging by your name, can get the hell out of here. You might even catch George before he leaves town."
What?
"George, the guy who used you last night. Remember? I'll help you carry your bags to the car. I put your favorite cans of Guinness in there.